Hey guys, welcome back to the BFS Fishing Channel, and in this video we're going to be taking a look at this. So I know I'm extremely late, but this is going to be a review or an initial look at the Shimano Curado BFS XG in left. So let's go ahead and do our unboxing and kind of initial impressions about this reel. So a little bit about this reel before I actually open it up. This reel comes in kind of a family of reels. So in Japan, the company is selling a reel called the Scorpion BFS. I think it's kind of going out of commission or out of stock now. And then there's also the SLX BFS. And then now there's the Curado BFS, which is only being sold in the US. Now this was released about a year ago, and so I'm actually quite late to the reel review party on this particular reel. But anyways, we're going to talk about the kind of the differences between those, and then also what you can do to kind of upgrade this reel. And also a little bit about the value proposition. So obviously you get the reel in the box, you get a, looks like a schematic and maybe some instructions, instruction guide, schematic. Did they give you BFS oil? It does not look like I actually received any BFS oil at all, unless it's in here. And nope. No BFS oil. So I'm going to actually keep this out just for a second, and I'll tell you exactly why. So I'm going to toss the box aside. All right. So the Curado BFS actually comes in with a total bearing count of only 7+1 ball bearings. Now, right off the bat, you can actually go ahead and upgrade 2 bearings in the handle knobs. Oddly enough, they're using 2 bushings and then 2 ball bearings in the handle knobs. So if you dig through the schematic here, you can see that this 5334 in really small print, that is actually a bushing, and there's 2 of those. There's also a bushing right at the worm gear. And so in the follow-up video to this one, I'll be doing a complete teardown of this reel, and then I will show you exactly where to replace those bushings and then also what size they are. And then I will talk about some other upgrades that you can actually make to this reel. But for now, let's go ahead and take a look at the reel itself. So let me go ahead and do some adjustments. Spool tension is... So let's take a look at the brakes, and nice drag clicker sound. It's a little bit hollow for my taste. The reel feels like it's a little bit on the heavy side. And then let me take a look and talk about the brakes. So this is a tilt down style side plate, which is nice. Uses FTB, which is also nice. This one doesn't look to have the ferromagnetic ring around the side of the, yeah. This one doesn't look to have the ferromagnetic ring that the, wow, that's really hard to turn. I don't know if, how you guys out there who own this reel, how you adjust your brakes, but my gosh, that is really difficult to turn. I mean, I would say that this is harder to turn than the Aldebaran, and the Aldebaran is very, very difficult to turn. So I'm not really sure why Shimano did that, but that's very odd. It does look like you can take out one of these magnets. Yep, you can go ahead and take out one of these magnets on the FTB system, and I've already gone ahead and done that. If you do take it out, you can put it back in, and it should have the little N symbol right there sticking out. It does appear to be very, very similar in design to the Aldebaran brake system. And yeah, unfortunately, it doesn't have that ferromagnetic ring around the outer perimeter to kind of help absorb some of those extra eddy currents at the absolute min setting, which is, my gosh, a nightmare to... I feel like I'm gonna like rip my nail off trying to do that. So I'm not really sure why that's so difficult. The Aldebaran is a lot easier to turn, even though that's not very easy to turn as well. Yeah, not fun, and there's a lot of grease. If I'm probably not planning on keeping this reel. If I were, oh, look at this. There's like a huge dollop of grease right there. I'm not even sure why, but I'm gonna go ahead and wipe that out because that is disgusting. Don't think you need that much grease to protect your reel. But my reasons for not keeping this reel is a couple things. In order to kind of make this even more BFS tuned, you do definitely need to upgrade some of the ball bearings. You need to upgrade a ball bearing there. I mean, you don't have to, but definitely a good thing. And then you can definitely upgrade the spool. There are two companies that make aftermarket spools for this reel. One is Avail, and the Avail spool design is fairly similar to this one. It is it has a shaft, a long shaft, and then it is made out of duralumin. It is a larger diameter than this one, and so they supply you with extra magnets to kind of help bridge any gaps. And then there's another company called Roro, which makes a shaftless spool design, which if I were to keep this reel, I would probably go with the Roro, simply because the spool will be lighter, and then the material of the spool is titanium versus the duralumin, which is an aluminum alloy that the Avail spool is using. So with the Roro spool, you actually don't need extra magnets, and you're shaving some of that spool weight, and then they're giving you an extra bearing to kind of help support the spool itself. So if you were to do the 2 ball bearings in the handle, the worm gear ball bearing upgrade, and then go to the Roro spool, you would theoretically have an 11+1 ball bearing reel. So you'd have 2 here, 3, and then a 4th extra one. As it stands, it's only a 7+1 ball bearing reel. It does feel fairly smooth, but it also does feel like it's a little bit on the heavier and ever so slightly geary side of things. Yeah, like let me see if I can actually tighten the drag down a little bit just to, and this is with the spool tension like really loose right there. So of course that doesn't really mean anything if your handle kind of rotates freely for a long period of time. It doesn't really mean anything, and the brake settings are on the absolute min. But that being said, yeah, this reel is a little bit on the heavier side. It does feel like it's built fairly sturdy. Just off of initial impressions, I feel like the paint is going to get really scratched up, and it's more of a workhorse reel than anything, I gotta say. It does feel like it's built fairly sturdy as well. So drag star feels like it's an aluminum, which is nice. The handle knobs don't turn at all on their own, so definitely I would be doing, you know, the ball bearing mod for the handle knobs, and probably the worm gear bearing as well. Yeah, that being said, the color scheme is pretty nice. It does feel fairly sturdily built. The spool looks to be fairly free spinning. Not the best. But again, you know, free spinning spools don't really translate to true performance. It looks like they're using a polymer worm shaft, which, I don't know, I'm kind of on the edge or on the fence about the whole polymer worm shaft design that Shimano's kind of going to. Yeah. So for $200, do I think that this is a fair deal of a reel? I think they kind of should have given us a little bit more. I think they should have definitely given us the extra ball bearings, at least in the handle knobs. I mean, I don't really see why that's such a big deal for them, especially when this design has been out for a while in the Scorpion and the SLX. The SLX has like 5 +1 ball bearings. I don't know the ball bearing count on the Scorpion, but I feel like it's going to be a little bit less than the SLX. And then they went up to 7. Additionally, the spool oddly doesn't have a bearing itself to on the spool itself to kind of support the spool pinion side, which is a little bit of an odd design to me, but I guess that also helps to save weight. Anyways, kind of a confusing reel to me. If you plan on using it for, you know, a good amount of time and kind of just really using and abusing your reel, I think that this is probably a good choice to have because, you know, Shimano quality is fairly good. Their components are also fairly good. But I probably will not be keeping this reel. I just don't see the need to have this reel when I've got the Aldebaran from Shimano, and I think the Aldebaran is a lot smoother of a reel. It's also a lot lighter. This reel is fairly heavy, but if you want to see the insides of this reel, then please stay tuned. I will show you what size bearings you need for the handle knobs and also for the worm shaft or the worm gear, and then I'll show you what's on the inside of this reel. And that's going to be it. Anyways, thank you so much for watching, guys. I'm sorry that I've been kind of slow on the videos. We've had some water intrusion in our house, and I've been kind of dealing with that, and that's been a huge nightmare. But anyways, if you've watched this video until the very end, thank you so much. If you've enjoyed the video, consider giving it a thumbs up. And as always, thank you so much, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.